Okay.
You're supposed to be thinking of that.
When I take. Give me it.
It doesn't smell like water.
Come on. Yesterday me and my I went partying. Hey, the streets are nice. The streets.
You know, if it wasn't because I have eaten lunch, I would have left this place already. I'm just digesting it as I'm listening to this rubbish. Obviously, we're taught, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You, my friend, are an unbeliever. But you're still my friend.
Well, my personal romantic relationships, I'll say this, it's definitely difficult.
Especially if this... Forgot we're recording here.
So what's going on?
It's something that we discuss a lot in the atheist community. Like,
You know what? I'm glad you have a community.
well, it's like, I know for sure it'll be harder to find love.
If she doesn't want to say hi to you, I'll say hi to you.
You guys right here on the left. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's me on the right.
Oh, you see, you even get your own special laptop.
Who, me?
This guy now.
It's the cheesy show.
This is a miracle that we are seeing before our eyes, guys. Honestly, otherwise we're going to have to use a lav.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Shall we say a word of prayer or what?
Oh, yeah?
Should we? How do you feel about that?
Well, as a rule of thumb, I don't mind. Because, you know,
A rule of
I like fitting in. I don't like standing out in those situations. So it's good.
Out of respect?
Yeah, out of respect. It's important to be respectful, you know what I mean?
Especially considering your disposition, bro.
Yes.
You can't come in hot.
I'm already like, you know, the black sheep. So if I do things like that, then it makes it worse for me. So.
How about we give a little bit of context to you being the black sheep and why saying a word of prayer is so controversial.
It's not
all of a sudden.
It's not controversial.
At the start of an episode.
No, it's not controversial.
It's not controversial?
No, not for me.
All right. Well, the context, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, welcome back to the Marimbas.
I was like, okay, we're starting without even introduction.
No, because you know what? We got to start in hot. We got to get it. We got to get into
it's
the
a different
mix of things.
episode. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
The camera.
So welcome back to the Marimbas Podcast.
Hey guys, hey to everyone but Thabang.
Everybody put the word.
Everyone but Thabang. By the way, that's Thabang.
Yeah.
The arrows.
Yeah, this is me.
Thabang's my boy from way back in the day, man. We go way back. I consider him a very good friend, considering all that we've been through, and even more so now with the change of perspectives, worldviews. Yeah. I would say that as we grow older, things change, right?
Okay.
People change, rearrange, and so do I. Something like that. That's a J. Cole bar, right?
Yeah.
Things change, rearrange, and so do I.
Yeah.
That guy always breaks into song every time. Can someone stop him?
This boy, what's his name again? Shayo. He should never sing again. Again in his life. In fact, if I ever hear his singing voice again, in fact, he should just stop talking. I don't like hearing his voice. Please. And my friend Thabang has evolved, as we all do, in his disposition, in his worldviews, and how he considers things. And I thought it would be a really great idea for us to have that chat live and direct.
Yeah.
So I'm strategically placed in the middle here because I feel like I'm in the middle of the blue and red pill.
Yeah, that's fitting. That's fitting.
People are talking about religion and, you
Okay.
know, whether it's for it or against it, whether
Yeah.
it's positive or negative. A lot of people are, you know, they want to give their views on it. So we decided, you know what, why not take off the Band-Aid, just rip it off. And, you know,
Slowly. Are we just
no, we're gonna rip it off. Like,
Win.
why prolong the pain? No, just rip it off, and yeah, let's talk about it. Why it's cool for some of us, why it's not for others. Yeah, and that's why we've invited, I'm gonna say our dear friend to come and also share his take on it, because you know, I think Shia and I, we kind of have the relatively the same views on stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to bring someone in to shake it up.
A little bit.
You know, yeah.
They're always asking me, "Kore, come back to church, because God loves me the most. Kore! When I step, huh? That's not what the episode's about. Hey, so what? What's this episode about? Hey.
I am a Christian. I've come up in a Christian home, and my worldviews and spiritual views have been shaped by that. And I haven't deviated from that too much.
Mm-hmm.
The views have evolved somewhat, based on how I justify certain practices, based on my personal relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as it was given to me as it is now. It has been refined somewhat. And I don't want to speak for you, but based on that, how would you define your spiritual standpoint right now?
I guess in principle, I did grow up in a Christian home. My dad is Catholic I go to church once a year, Catholic way. So yeah, I did grow up in a Christian home, but not necessarily, they didn't really impose or make me, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't enforce it.
Yeah, I wasn't forced to go to Sunday school. I wasn't forced to go to church. I kind of did those things on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm not baptized. Guys.
But when did you start, that self-actualization?
When I was 11.
Oh, that's young.
No, okay. When I was 11, and then when I was 11, and then when I was 15, I found the bottle and the nice time, and then I left, and then I was like, ciao.
Yeah.
And this after I did all the catechism classes, and I started teaching kids and whatnot. So I was in it, and then nice time is nice time. So yeah, and then I came back when I was, I think, 22.
Okay.
But I didn't go back to the Catholic Church. I went to a more, I guess you can say, Pentecostal kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I wouldn't say I'm spiritual. Hey, spirits, good or bad, spiritual. Hey.
Praising the Lord always, always. You see, me, I am a believer. God day. God day. So the point is, what we share is, along the way, over the years, we've gravitated towards something we can justify more to our personality.
Yeah.
Not losing sight of the foundation, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, at a point we did, and I suppose we all have fallen short of the glory of God.
Nice one.
I got those off the rip. So now we come to my guy, Thabang. Based on that, how would you define your process?
What's
and
your story?
What's my
What's the story?
like backstory?
Yes.
So basically, like you, Nyakie,
Mhm.
I grew up Catholic. My mom's a Catholic. She's a staunch Catholic. I don't know if you remember,
Yes.
but she's like really into the Catholic Church. She's into Christianity.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that environment. Even my dad, when he was alive, he was also a Catholic.
Mhm.
And I'll say that basically my family has a history of Catholicism. It's like a family thing. But
Yeah.
obviously there's Pentecostals in it. But I grew up in an environment where everybody believed in God.
Yeah.
And it was like that until about maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I guess we'll get into why. But what I can say is before I actually left, religion,
Mhm.
I actually became a bit more religious, you know. I was fasting, I was praying every day. I was really like intensely thinking about God and stuff. So it's something eating you up, right?
No, I just adjusted my seat because I was like, okay, go on. And then I
Oh,
looked at
for
her.
me to jump over?
No, because I was like, then I looked at her because I'm just waiting for her to jump over. But go on. You started fasting.
Yeah, I was fasting, I was praying intensely, I was studying the Bible.
Yeah.
I was really into something called apologetics. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yeah.
I was really into that. Apologetics is basically like a scholarly defense of any position, basically.
Yeah.
But in this context of the Christian faith.
Yeah.
So I was really into that, like people like Frank Turek, William Lane Craig, and some other big names, Mike Licona. And I'd really follow them almost religiously, you know?
Yeah.
Because for me, it was like, wow, I never knew that you could have a scholarly defense of Christianity. I always thought it was a thing of faith and emotions,
Yeah.
personal experience. So when I found that, you could actually have, you know, a well-reasoned defense of your faith, that really appealed to me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey ironically led me out of Christianity because it caused me to start thinking about like the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I just started questioning, and the questions were not met with good answers. So that's pretty much how I got here.
No, my cousin, my cousin, she from my mother's side, she adopted my brother's dog's child. My cousin from my mother's side, she got a calling. Yeah, Sangoma. I must also expect. So sometimes when I fall asleep, I can just sense it's coming. I just put garlic. I don't want responsibility in the spiritual realm. Nah.
Yeah, so we've all been trying to justify what we've been taught from a very young age. And I suppose it expands wider than spirituality or your religion. We question things or ways maybe families have done things and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we're focusing on spirituality right now. And it's interesting that in as much as the three of us have tried to justify it, we've, I suppose, come to somewhat different outcomes because we ultimately do have different relationships with God. But now when I say with God, your case is quite interesting, bro, because in as much as you're not the first, you're definitely the first that I know. Personally. And it's interesting because I know your background. Like you said, your mom was staunch.
Could we get a I'm not trying to like box you, but could I get a title?
I'm an atheist.
You're an atheist.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm an agnostic atheist. Let me just
okay.
let me just break this down a bit.
Which one is agnostic now? This one is talking of agnostic. What waiting be agnostic? Eh? Agnostic what? What is that?
So pretty much everybody is agnostic.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in God or you don't. Because agnosticism is just a claim to knowledge.
Yeah.
That word gnosis just means knowledge. So when you say you're agnostic, you're saying I don't know. Right? So I know it could be a controversial point to say Christians are also agnostic because they believe they know. But when I say knowledge, I mean something you can prove definitively,
Mm-hmm.
unambiguously. You know,
Okay.
Like, I know Shayo is here. How do I prove that? Well, I
Yeah.
come to him. And you can look at him. It's very easy to prove.
Okay.
So we're all agnostics. That's why I say I'm an agnostic atheist. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is, I don't know if God is real, but I don't believe. That's what atheism means. Right?
Okay.
Atheism without God. And then it's theism with God.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody will agree to being agnostic, bro.
Yeah. That's the
Because
first controversial point. About
because people, especially with a strong level of faith,
Mm-hmm.
won't doubt that they know God is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I suppose that's the foundation of the conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we're not trying to have like a debate or anything
No,
like that,
yeah.
but we're just expressing, views.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what obviously the whole podcast, Marimbas Podcast,
Yeah.
advocates for. So from that foundation, if that foundation isn't shared,
Mm-hmm.
how then can we possibly have constructive conversation?
Yeah.
Me, you want to be somebody who is strong in this world, you have to be a believer. I believe so. Honestly, because God do, honestly. If it wasn't for me, they would have long caught me. I'm telling you. If it wasn't for God, they would have long caught me.
Because you know what it is? Like what you were talking about right now, all believers feel like they know that God is real. Even
Yeah.
non-Christians, I mean like Muslims,
Yeah.
Hindus, they all believe they know. Right? It's not, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to separate knowledge from belief. Because those two things are not the same thing. You could believe something and you could believe that it's correct. Like there are people who believe they're going to be billionaires and they believe they know that that's a fact. But it's because the belief is a sense of conviction. You're convinced of this. So it feels like an actual fact. So what I'm just trying to do is just separate the two. Say, okay, there's knowledge and then there's belief. Right? So that's all I'm really saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that people don't believe or don't feel like they know. I'm just saying that it's two separate issues.
No, there are too many religions. But now we can choose, pick and choose. Put the name atheist.
So, it does leave it wide open when it comes to knowledge and belief, right? Because history shares those two words. There's knowledge of King Arthur, for example. There's knowledge of Napoleon. There's knowledge of Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Are we to say, because we didn't see those people, that we don't believe they existed?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's an issue of evidence.
Yeah.
There's good evidence that those people existed.
They are all of them. Hurry. But they're all confused. All of them. Go seek spiritual health, growth, teachings. I'll give you a number of my spiritual leader.
Do you believe in Jesus?
What do you mean, do I believe?
Okay,
in
do you
Jesus?
believe he existed?
It's a contentious point.
I think we need to go
To say the
stage by
least.
stage, guys.
Nah.
What do you believe in then?
Saint Nicholas.
It's a tricky question because when people say, what do you believe in? They're usually appealing to a form of something beyond this world, right? Something
Okay.
beyond the material world. Like, what do you believe in spiritually? So my answer to that is I don't believe in the spirit world. I don't believe in that kind of thing. What I believe in personally is I call myself an atheist, but I'm also a humanist. So humanists are people who just believe in humanity, human rights, the plight of people, basically.
So
That's
your
what I believe.
explanation for why things happen and why the world was made and how it was made is based on scientific
Yeah. I believe the answer to it, like, I believe that we don't have the answers to how everything came about, but I believe that the answer is probably scientific, right? Most likely scientific.
Okay.
It's just that right now, as it stands, we don't understand everything. And I get the urge to fill that gap of not knowing with God, because then it solves the conflict. You know, not knowing is kind of uncomfortable, especially for big questions like, where did this all come from? Why are we here? And if somebody says, well, I don't know, it seems like almost intuitive to say, well, that's God, obviously, because we don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I'm at a position where I'd be like, I don't know, but I believe that one day science will solve that question, as it has done historically.
So, you know, I'm not happy with this guy. What's his name? Thabang. Thabang has to be careful, eh? He's on very treacherous ground. You know me, I believe in God. And I can just see, just by looking at him, that he doesn't believe in God. He's not good.
So, I cut you off. So, do you believe in Jesus?
Do I believe in Jesus? I'm neither here nor there. When you say, do I believe in Jesus? Obviously, I don't
like
believe...
that he existed and that he came and he lived, he did miracles or whatever.
When I first became non-religious, I still believe that Jesus was a real historical figure.
Okay.
But with time, I learned that Jesus's actual existence is actually in contention. It's not even like a concrete thing, you know? So I would say I'm pretty agnostic about it. Like, I don't know. I don't know whether Jesus existed or not.
Okay.
I don't know. But if he did, I would say that he is definitely not the Jesus portrayed in the Bible. He was probably just a man, you know? Just a man. Maybe a apocalyptic preacher. There was a lot of those. There was a lot of Jesuses in that time. There was a guy called Jesus Ben Ananias. You know, there was a lot of types of Jesuses. There was a Jesus who threw tables in the temple. There was a Jesus who did a conglomeration of the things you see that Jesus does in the Bible. So that's my view on it.
No. I don't agree. Never.
If Jesus is real, then he's definitely not the Jesus of the Bible.
I think one thing that fuels your doubting of whether things definitely happened is the whole broken telephone aspect of things.
Yes.
Where the way we consume religion now is by no means close to how it was when it was originated. And that's by virtue of how we've interpreted the word of God over the generations and things of that nature. So part of what you hold on to, if, you know, I'm not mistaken, is how things can be muddled up along the lines. Like, how do we know Jesus really did all the things he did? But then at the same time, like I said, would you then not also question our historical documentation of these,
the figures that you mentioned?
Genghis Khan, for example.
No, because it's not, that's a false equivalence. So, for example, Genghis Khan and Hitler, there's contemporary sources that state that these people existed. Not only that, there's historical records outside of, for example, the Bible, right? We don't even know who wrote the Bible. Like, for example, the New Testament, the books of the New Testament were not written by Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. I know that that's the immediate assumption. But if you look into apologetics, and this is the first thing I learned as a Christian, that those books were not written by any of those people. Those books were written by anonymous authors. So, meaning they don't know who wrote that. See, so it's not the same as, for example, a historical record of Hitler. Because Hitler was testified by, first of all, people who are still alive today, right? Like people who've been through the Holocaust and stuff. But also historians who use the historical method. Because the historical method is like the scientific method. It's just a way of getting to the truth of something methodically, you know, so that there's no error in how you do it. Whereas you find that the Bible doesn't really have that kind of historical method because it has anonymous authorship. So that's why I say it's a false equivalence. Right? These other figures as well, like for example, nobody's saying Hitler died for our sins and rose to heaven. That's a supernatural claim. So that's why it's not the exact same thing, because everything about Hitler is naturalistic. You know, it might be evil, but it's within nature. We know that these types of things can happen. Whereas if somebody wrote about somebody, even if you wrote like 10 years ago, about somebody who cuts people's heads off and then regrows them, we would have to look at that and pause and say, okay, this is not the same kind of claim as just a living
existing.
Yeah. So that's why I would say it's a false equivalent. It's not the same thing.
I can understand that. I can understand that. And I suppose, that's where the difference is. Because if we're having a belief system of something supernatural, there's a need for something intangible to hold that together. And that's pretty much what faith is. Bible defines faith as substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen.
Praise the Lord!
I get it, right? And that's pretty much what holds people together. And to be fair, that's what holds my viewpoints now to what they were coming up. Definitely, I grew up in a Christian home, right? And things were enforced up until a certain point. And like I said in the beginning, I haven't deviated that far from it. But I can definitely understand how the message of Christ has been misinterpreted. Capitalism comes into play, commercialism comes into play, self-interest comes into play, and politics and things of that nature. And I don't like that. So I can appreciate somebody having his or her own personal relationship with God. But it's still somehow a little baffling to me how you can't believe in something in God, I'm not there. And it's not like I'm trying to be convinced by you or anything like that. I'm definitely still on my foundational principles.
I get you.
It's just difficult for me because I believe in spirituality. And definitely I know there are so many things that I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know exactly what Jesus looked like and whatnot. And I don't agree with the interpretation of him being a white man.
Long hair, blonde.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
But I know that there is something greater than I am.
Okay. Well, you believe that. That's the thing. It goes back to what we're talking about. I
believe it, bro.
Yeah,
and because I believe it, I know it.
Listen, I know it. I ain't gonna sugarcoat this. I know it.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I'm. Hey man, much respect. Yeah, much love. Okay. I feel like it's a disclaimer, small.
A little primer.
I respect you. I do. I feel like, because I think we had a conversation like 2 seconds long. I don't know, a month ago. And I asked you, I was like, so what do you believe in? And you were frustrating me because I'm like, how does someone not believe in anything? Right? And you're like, no, I believe in myself. Like, right now you said you're humanist. What? Yeah. You believe in yourself. You believe in your abilities. You believe, right? You said something along those lines.
I didn't say
correct
I believe
me.
in myself. I said I believe in humanity. Like the progression of humanity, strife of humanity, helping people in this world, in this earth. That's what I believe. That's what humanism is.
He believes in being a good person.
Being a good person, being good to others, just helping humanity as a collective conscious move along. That's what I believe.
Humanistic. What's that?
Which, of course, isn't so far from biblical principles.
It's not. Well, that depends what you mean.
No, what I mean, like, love your neighbor, that kind of thing. Do unto others as you like them to do. That kind of thing. Love being the greatest of all.
No, man. He's an atheist. He's not a terrible person. Like,
no.
What are you trying to equate to them?
What do you mean?
The Bible talks about faith without works being dead, right?
Yeah.
So we can't just believe that God will make us millionaires tomorrow.
No, definitely.
And that will happen. There needs to be some actual practical effort on our part, which he believes in and which Christians believe in too.
Yeah.
I'm saying Christians, I'm the mediator.
The middleman.
I'm a Christian.
By the
way.
This boy, he told me his name is Shayo. I must address something very quickly. This Shire is a very bad boy. I can see it just by the way he's conducting himself, and I don't subscribe to any of this. I think this is absolute rubbish. This is absolute rubbish.
So I think the key difference is what we attribute that success to. Like you said,
Yeah.
what do you believe in? I think there's much more common ground than we think.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, and there has been...
My guy, as long as you don't believe in Jesus is hard, eh? This common ground is not so common.
Why do you say that?
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, what I believe
Mhm.
and what I've seen in my life and what I understand
Mhm.
is Jesus is the one and only way to the Father, right? And I believe that he came and he walked on this earth and he did what he did, right? So for me, someone that's really, I guess, I don't want to say passionate because I don't want to make it as if I'm just emotional, but like someone that understands that and believes that, we're not on the same page.
No, but like, okay, let's look at the things that Jesus preached, or the
Uh-huh.
things that Jesus is said to have preached, right? Peace.
No, who said
You have to be careful with
No,
everything.
no, I get
That is
that. I get
specified.
that. But the Bible does speak to the people that still follow the moral principles. You know, the love your neighbors and wow. It does speak to you, to those people,
Mhm.
right? And it does say that you're not the same. The
Yeah, it
Bible
does say
actually
that.
still says you're not the same. Even though they don't go around killing people and they don't go around, you are not the same. You do not believe in the Father's Son who came to sacrifice. So, like, I get you. Sorry, son.
Do not be unequally yoked unbelievers.
That's what it says.
So, sorry. No,
Why are you apologizing to me?
because you started saying that we're like kind of on the same, and I was like, no, we're not.
No, but
This would be easy.
no, but literally, I still believe we are, to a certain extent, but because of how we practicalize our faith, practicalizing our faith meaning how we live our lives. Fine, there's a fundamental difference in belief system
Okay.
in where we are going and the objective of why we are doing the things we're doing.
Okay.
But the way we live our lives, in this particular instance with Thabang, he's a good person. He's
Yeah.
respectable. You're a good person. You're respectable.
Hey. Okay, sorry.
Congratulations. He loves his mother. You love your mother. So he is, by default, in his nature, living out biblical principles. The only difference is what he attributes those.
Well, first, I
lifestyle
want to say
choices
something
too.
about this, right?
Hit
Because
us.
there's this idea that, like you said, biblical principles, right?
Yes.
There's this idea that good principles in life come from the Bible, or goodness comes from the Bible, and it's a common thread of thinking. Because, for example, in Islam, there's something called the age of Jalaliya. I don't know if I'm saying it correct. I might be incorrect, but the
Don't
age
forgive
of
us.
Jalaliya is
Yeah, Alta will correct you.
Yeah. The age of Jalaliya is basically a period of ignorance where people in the Middle East were living terrible lives. They were burning people, they were doing this. And so the Muslims believe that when they came with that message, they imparted goodness into the world through that message. And now they believe that any type of goodness in the world, it can be attributed to Allah. So it's the same thing with Christians. Like, they believe that if a person is good, then they're living by quote unquote biblical principles, which is something I would disagree with, because I'll just point out that people have been living like this for ages, not beyond religion, like before, because it's really a matter of cooperation. How do you cooperate with people in a society?
Yeah.
Like, if you think about the earliest human beings, right? Our ancestors. I know you guys might not believe in like evolutionists. I don't know if you do. Maybe we'll get there. But like, our ancestors, the early human beings, was very tribal, right? It was very dog eat dog, right? Those guys used to eat each other. But then they soon realized that we need to cooperate with this other tribe if we want things to work out well. So then they have basic principles that we now label as kindness, fairness, empathy, justice, that they realize that if I treat this person this way, he's gonna treat me this way. If I go to this tribe and I kill or rape people of this tribe, they're gonna do the same for me. But I want to live. I want to survive. So it really came about as a matter of practicality. So the goodness of anybody is really a matter of practicality. How you want to fit into a society. It's not really a matter of the Bible says or it's coming from God. So even you as a person, if you lost your faith, not that it will ever happen, but if you lost your faith, you wouldn't all of a sudden become a bad person. Because it's a matter of practicality, also a matter of who you are as a person.
I mean, I say biblical principles because really that's what we attribute these things to.
I get you.
Fruits of the Spirit. So that is our benchmark.
Yeah.
How?
And I'm saying that there is common ground to also do away with this stigma of atheists being dangerous people or unworthy of friendship or love. And, this is part of the, I suppose, refinement on my part of how I see myself as a Christian, right? Obviously, we're taught, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You, my friend, are an unbeliever, but you're still my friend. So if I'm really going by biblical principles, I would either have to
cut me off.
Yeah, cut you off or reconvert you. Try to minister to you, which isn't.
It's
difficult because you are very convicted about what you now believe in, which is not believing in God.
Yes.
I can't believe what I'm watching. What are they saying? What are they talking about?
Before we started having conversations about you being an atheist, I don't know if I was a little bit scared of atheists.
Yeah. I mean,
I almost attributed them to like devil worshippers. I mean,
Satanism.
Exactly. Like, I'll be honest, not like actively, but like just as a okay, you're not believing in God. Okay, you must be on that side.
But if you don't believe in God,
that's the thing. Like,
I'm putting spice.
He doesn't believe in it.
But if you don't believe in God, then you're that side.
No, but listen,
that's all. That's
that perspective that you guys are having on what you're talking about right now. I used to be like that as well. Right? I used to, like, as a Christian, like, because James, I have a friend called James. He's a preacher. So we used to really love talking intensely about God. As Christians, like, oh, this is great. Like having discussions about it. And then if atheism comes out or an atheist comes up, like, hey, what do you guys think about atheists? The knee-jerk reaction is, this dumbasses. How could you not believe in God? That's actually the most obvious thing, right? Everybody knows. Don't you know that everybody believes in God? So I also had that thing of a natural stigmatization. But you have to question, where is that coming from? Where is this mentality coming from? You find that it's actually coming from the Bible itself.
Hey!
Like you mentioned, the unequally yoked thing. That's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
But basically, it's, the Bible calls non-believers foolish or fools. You'd have to be a fool not to believe in God. And that kind of thing, for me, is divisive and it's not productive, because it does what's called poison in the well. Basically, it gives you lenses to look at people through. So before you meet somebody, the Bible has already told you that this certain group of people are like this, which means that if you believe it literally and you believe that this is the truth, you're going to approach this person like that. And if you come across this person and this person is not like that, it can induce a bit of a cognitive dissonance whereby you have two conflicting ideas in your head. So there's one idea that, in the Bible it says that non-believers are like this. But then you meet a non-believer, they're not like this. Now these are two conflicting ideas. So you have to resolve it. So what do? There's a number of things you can do to resolve it.
Yeah.
But most of the resolutions are usually not healthy. You'd have to drop one of your two beliefs, which is not easy for people to do. You'd have to, maybe the Bible isn't being literal in this aspect, or you'd have to say, maybe this guy is not really good. Maybe this is just a facade, or
maybe he's not really bad.
Maybe he's not really bad. Whatever it is, whatever conclusion you come.
I don't.
But it doesn't say if you're not equally yoked, the person is.
No, I'm not saying
You
that.
know.
I'm not saying that.
And I think we take that in a literal sense, whereby we're like, okay, let's not interact with anyone that doesn't share our same sentiments or principles or morals.
There are some denominations that believe in that.
Yeah.
Do not befriend.
But first and foremost, right? Love your neighbor.
Yes.
Right? And sorry, hey.
Yeah.
As Jesus did, he was going into places that, people thought he shouldn't be going into because of the characters that were in that, those spaces. And he was just demonstrating that, but,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
You guys just have this,
Yeah.
about them. But it's not like that. We can love one another without judging each other. I may not understand his point of view, but also when it comes to being equally yoked, I'm not going to go to him for advice on some things, knowing that he has that kind of perspective. Do you get what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
Would you befriend an atheist?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. I'm not going to go to them and ask them, for some of my life problems and, just I would.
Do you feel like that we are ill-equipped to give you life advice and stuff like that?
No, because you and your people.
You're talking about advice. Hey, if I ask an atheist about some advice, he will tell me rubbish now. It's like that. What will he tell me that will make sense? Everything this one is even saying is rubbish. I can't believe anything they say because I am also a non-believer of atheists and their advice. Thank you.
No, I went through some things when I was like coming back to God. Right, I went through some things, and I don't want to say the stage because then people will know. And I got involved, or I allowed myself to get swept with the crowd. Okay, there weren't that many, but with the people, right? And I was coming back into the church, so I did have some church friends a while, but I wouldn't go to them for my issues or to talk to her or what. It's like you're for Sunday. Do you get what I'm saying? And so turn up is life, drip is forever, and that's the place I was in. And it wasn't, eventually I realized it's not who I wanted to be, and I didn't want to like go to the bottle for my problems. Maybe I just wanted to talk about my problems. Maybe I wanted to watch a movie and not think about my problems.
Yes, the bottle. The bottle. Yeah, it solves everything. Please don't put that on. Don't.
I'm giving a very extreme example, right?
Sure.
But like, it was literally like, dude, let's go have some tequila shots and you'll forget about it.
1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila. Flow.
Or let's go in, or that guy's cute and you forget about it. Stuff like that. And it wasn't really the best way for me to cope, but I was having fun, right? But then when I realized, if I want this type of advice, I'll go here. If I want something that's maybe going to build me and enhance me and encourage me to do better, maybe I'll go there. Unfortunately, I didn't have the in-betweens, right? I just had one or the other. So I realized, no, I want to go in this direction. And they helped me out and kind of also just persuaded me. And now I'm convinced in the journey that I'm taking because of that. So you go to, like, if I want to cry about something that I know I've done foolishly and I don't want to go to you who's going to tell me, but Nyaks, but you got yourself into that situation. Why were you doing that? Now you're crying for nothing. I'll go to my mom. And my mom would be like, it's fine. And she'll tell me what I want to hear.
Yeah.
She won't correct me. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like if you're not equally yoked, it's not equally yoked in like Christianity or equally yoked in, if you're not in the same space, if you're not trying to get into the same, I'm not going to go to you if, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's fair. It's fair.
Yes, we must talk about God every single day. Without fail. The Bible says we must pray without ceasing. We must also talk without ceasing. Every time we must talk.
I think one of the things that we are leaning and moving towards as a race, being the human race.
Oh, okay. I was like, yo, dog, we're talking about race now?
Is being able to have good, healthy relationships with people we completely disagree with.
Yeah.
Never.
I believe that going or having a healthy relationship with somebody should move past their, I want to say, religious views, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think we really need to look at people as individuals.
Yeah.
And what their moral compasses are. Because Christianity has done a madness.
Okay.
I must say. And these are things that I completely, like, I am offended by, and that also fuel my refinement and how I justify things now. Because I'm not going to say, okay, just because somebody is a Christian or says he or she is a Christian, that they're automatically a good person.
No, definitely. Because
there's some characters out here, right? So that's why I definitely, that's why we're still friends, basically.
Yeah.
Because I know he's a good person. But then it gets deep, right? And I'm adjusting my seat here because I'm going to put something to you. Like, how does it affect the relationships you have with your family members or your, personal relationships, like your friendships or even romantic relationships? Because you've said you're coming from a foundation of Christianity, right? And they know you as Thabang. You're a good person. You're a good guy. But this is a game changer, bro.
Really?
Because remember the stigma.
No, people don't like what they don't understand. So they'll probably look at him and be like, this devil worshipper, this one.
And still, there are going to be people here watching and being like, atheism. And you jokingly said it. You jokingly alluded to him being like a Satanist. I know you're joking.
No, Sham.
but it's fair. Like, people really seriously hold that to play.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of your people have.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, bro?
Well, I guess I should just categorize it into different groups of these friends. My reaction from my friends has been, my friends are not particularly religious people. Oh, except Shayo. Shayo's a very good guy.
Hey guys, I'm a new age.
I don't know what you are. I'm questioning you.
Feel free to question me. Live and direct. Go on.
My friends are not particularly religious people. So they didn't really have, it was more of an intellectual thing with them. I have some Muslim friends. Yeah. Where they were like, okay, so let's discuss it then, So then it became more of an intellectual thing. We even have a WhatsApp group where we discuss this kind of stuff.
Ah, dope.
So it really hasn't affected my friendships as such. I'm sure if I was like deep in the church and I had like friends in the church or all my friends were from the church, then it would be a different story. But my friends drink and smoke and sex before marriage and all that. So it wasn't really an issue for them.
Yes. Drinking and smoking. That one is bad, very bad. In fact, even sex before marriage is bad. We can't just be out here gallivanting like that. It's not good though. At least, just pray before you eat now. At least you just pray for your food. It's like that.
Family. My brothers were shocked.
Yeah.
But then they were like, okay, whatever. Like they were shocked, but then they were my little brother actually, like he was, I don't want to say he came around to my way. He just, because he was asking me questions and I was telling him like, oh, well, this and this. And he was like, but then how about this? And I'd be like, oh, well, this and this. Not that I'm trying to convert him or anything. And eventually he came to a point by himself where he was like, well, I don't think I really necessarily believe this either. You know?
You know, I don't find this funny at all.
And then with personal relationships, I think that's where really, like romantic relationships. I think that's where...
Get it?
Sorry, before
Tell
you get
us.
into your romantic relationships,
Yeah.
cut.
But why can't we just all be happy and get along?
Well, my personal romantic relationships, I'll say this, it's definitely difficult.
I would imagine, man.
What? How?
Especially if this. Forgot we're recording here.
So what's going on? Uh-huh.
Chill.
You can imagine being in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
where you're equally yoked and the young fella tells you, okay, look, I have a change of thoughts,
Yeah.
change of mind, change of heart. I'm an atheist now. How would you, before we get to how Thabang's dealt with all of this, how would you deal with that?
Personally, I'm more sexual than I am spiritual. They taste, they sound the same. I get
Myself being Nyakallo,
Yes.
right?
Would you cut?
Cut it. Your price
Cut
was
it.
way too high. You need to cut it. No, honestly, I'm not going to even like. When I started getting really, really like serious, and let's just say, when I started getting really serious in like my faith journey, I actually had a boyfriend of 2 years, and I broke it off with him because of what you're talking about. So to me, there's no two ways about it. And then I got into another relationship, and the guy was like, "You're never around. You're always at church. I feel like I'm competing with God." And I was like, "Ish, son, you'll never win." Like to me, it's just straight up. Unfortunately, fortunately, no, fortunately.
Okay, but
it's like this girl is a virgin.
you're not cold-hearted enough to just say,
Oh, hun, got it 2 years. I was in love.
Mm-hmm.
2 years.
but weren't there conversations after you changed? After you became more serious in the first relationship?
No, you know what? Before I got into that relationship, the person knew how I was.
Yeah.
Right? I had known them for a while. And they knew, that I wanted a man that is going to raise my kids in a God-fearing way and all that stuff. And like, I was so clear with him. And then in my weak moments, it's like, we can make this work. And so I tried. I really tried. And then I was like, but babes, I don't see the God in you. Like, legit. I don't know. I'm just a Band-Aid person. I just rip it off.
Yeah, what she did? What? Boss. This girl's never getting married.
So wait, are you saying there was conversation after that?
No, there was.
Were you
After
trying
we
to
broke up?
salvage something? No, before you broke up.
No, before we broke up, we did have that discussion. Like,
Yeah.
okay, but you know what?
He
Do you
couldn't-
have a relationship with Jesus? Are you trying to, how's your prayer life like? I was like, I don't want to change you. And we came into this knowing where I wanted to be and where you wanted to be. And we thought we could have a middle ground. He is Christian. Let me just put it out there. He is Christian.
Shout out to all the Christians out there.
He is Christian. But lukewarm.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you spat him out.
No, I did. I don't want to say it like that. But yes, I dismissed him to find someone that would be able to be okay with.
That's quite a decision. And it must have been really emotionally
It was so hard.
tough.
It was so hard. Like, I think I cried about it for like months because I knew what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, but I don't see like eye to eye with this person. And shame, but he did try. He did.
But it's just not him.
It's not him, and I don't want to change someone and make them into someone that are not like, there's a saying, I don't know if you guys know it, but there's a saying where it's like, however they come to God, as long as they come to God, whether they're crawling or walking or, it's like, if you come to God via a girl, it's fine. You've come. But like, it wasn't gonna happen with him. So I was just like, before I'm unhappy. And it's funny because we speak now and then, because he did tell me that, like, I think we broke up. I'm not going to say the year. I think we broke up in like March. And he did tell me that in October, I think it was October, that he was going to propose. But this was like afterwards. And I was like, what?
Wait, but that would have been even tougher for you.
That's what I'm saying. So I was like, you know what? I had to get out while I can.
Okay, well, just a little bit of a detour, guys. Why would you tell somebody after you've broken up that you were going to propose?
It sounds suspect.
I was gonna say, like, that's a bit of that's gamish. Like, are you just trying to like toy with her or something? Like that?
No, Sham, no.
Like, what's the point?
We're not.
To propose. Why didn't you propose? And if you didn't, just like let it die.
Hey, you have a mind for the ring now.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, was that a factor?
Like, there were other factors, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he was like, okay, listen, I had a plan for that year. Like, we were going to that year. I was like, geez, homie. And like, I'm not married now. I'm like, ish.
No, but then you sound like you would have accommodated his level of faith if he had proposed to you, or if you were married.
No, the thing is, it's like a girlfriend wanting to get married, and you prolong the things, and you say, okay, let's say Thabang and I are dating, right? And then I'm like, but baby, when are you going to propose? And he's like, and then he says, babe, let's move in. Now that prolongs my nagging for wanting to get married because I moved in. So it's like, okay, then, I'm silent for 3 months. And then 3 months later, I'm like, baby, when are you gonna? Then he impregnates me. And then I'm silent for it because I'm like, but I'm the baby mama, And then after a year, I'm like, but when are we gonna get married? And then
in fact, for once, I can agree with something she has said. That's what I like to call a pacifier. It's very effective. You just prolong the inevitable, but you do it in such a way that you are able to at least have some peace and respite, because despite the parasitical nature of women, we shall prevail by the mercies of the Father above. Thank you.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, it's like when I meet somebody new, it's like, okay, do I mention this?
Yeah.
'Cause I know it's a potential deal breaker. I don't know, like, what the right strategy is. Because there's a hope that maybe if someone gets to know you, they could be okay with that.
Yeah.
So if you bring this up too early, they'll shut you out before getting to know you.
Yeah, man. Make them fall in love with you before they have a choice.
But then it's definitely going to come up,
Yeah, no,
people
definitely.
talk about God quite a lot, especially when you don't believe in God, you notice. It's like, let's say you want to get something in the next month, right?
Yeah.
Like a pair of shoes or something, or a car.
Someone will
And
say,
when you're
God
in town, you start seeing a car.
Believe in God for so.
Yeah. So it's like that, like, when you don't believe in God, you start noticing how much people actually talk about God.
Yeah.
Even like sometimes I think people don't even realize they're talking about God. It's so casual.
Yeah.
So even in a dating situation, people usually talk about God within the first 10 minutes, I would say. Like, God will come up without that person noticing. So then what's your reaction going to be? The expected reaction is, oh yeah, no, God, my life too. But then you just stay quiet like,
So his love life is also absent. He's an absentia. Because if you don't believe that God can come through for you, how will you believe that your woman can come for you too.
Yeah, because it seems like everybody is a believer,
Yeah.
and it just depends on which denomination they follow.
Yeah.
But
People are liars, guys. This was hurting my feelings about the whole situation because a babe that literally probably hasn't even been to church in like the past 2 years is going to be like, "What? You don't believe in
And that's the
God?"
thing. Like it's
And then all of a sudden it's an issue that you don't, that you actually have a stance and you understand, and you know, by your virtue, you've gained that knowledge that has, you know.
like I don't want to slight people, but I'd say that most people don't live a biblical type life.
No,
You
yeah.
know? So it's just like, it's like, okay, but you're not living that way either. So what's the issue? You know what I'm saying? But I think it's really a thing of, like I'm saying, like, at least have the hope. At least have the hope that this person can one day spiritually lead you. You know, so it's definitely tricky. It's something that we discuss a lot in the atheist community. Like,
you know what? I'm glad you have a community because it sounded like you're writing yourself off into the wilderness or something.
I'm
like
so sad.
well, it's like I know for sure it'll be harder to find love. That's for
Yeah.
sure. That's that one I know for sure because, yeah, like most black girls want a God-fearing man. If you look closely, like they'll be like, "What do you want from a man? Must fear God."
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So even if you don't attend church,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, fine, but do you have, and what can I work with here? Can I build God belief? Whereas if it's like, hey, my man, I don't even believe in that. Then it's like, what?
Jeez.
My boy. Nah, I don't even fuck with you like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually quite tragic. And like I'm saying, in the atheist community, it's something we discuss a lot. Like if you go, like I use Reddit a lot. If you go on Reddit, there's a group where people are particularly asking about this thing. So it's either like the atheists have something in common with the LGBTQ in that there's this thing of being in the closet, and then there's a thing of coming out the closet and then getting advice. What should I do? Who should I tell? When should I tell them? And am I gonna lose this person? What should I do? So it's a big conversation, and the usual reaction is good luck from other atheists. It's like, whoa,
Shame, man.
I don't know what's gonna happen to you,
Shayo,
but good
does
luck.
your homie have game?
Yeah, he has game. I remember him back in the day.
You've seen him pull a few hands.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that he says black girls want a God-fearing man. I've known him to. Well, I knew of a certain Caucasian back in the day. So maybe that's where you're actually aligning yourself to.
Are you checking for black hands?
I love black women. Like that's my preferred as a black woman, right?
Okay.
But I wouldn't cancel out any other race because it's not really about race. It's just about the character of the person.
Sure,
Yeah.
So, but you know, like black girls do have a thing for God, and like you were saying, you say something that's very true. Like you said about your former partner that it was like they're competing with God and you cannot win that. So it's a very difficult position because Jesus or God is a perfect being, right? He's not like a person that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like a real person, a real living person who has flaws and stuff. When I say real living person, I mean like person
I
you
get
can
you.
touch
I get
and
you. I get
feel,
you. I
who
get
has
you.
all these flaws. Whereas Jesus was there throughout your whole life.
He's already won.
He's won. So like trying to come in
Yeah.
and compete. You know, there's levels. You could compete with like a rich, successful man. You might win. It's unlikely. Or you compete with God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Unlikely. If you have faith.
Or you can compete with God, which is like the ultimate. Which is there. It's impossible because for me, God is people's egos. I'm talking about me now, right? I'm not saying that this is what actually God is, but basically for me, God is a super ego. So it's like you are now competing with that person. You know, it's like. And that's almost impossible. You know? That's a totally
like either me or
impossible
you.
position. You know, it's
It's
either
always
me or
gonna be
you,
me.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna choose what your convictions are. So
Yeah.
it's really difficult. All the atheists watching this, I wish you the best.
No, man. Guys,
I don't know.
I want to start a support group for y'all. Like, I'm perplexed by this. Like, my mind is just blown.
Some people say atheists should just date atheists, but I'm not of this view. I feel like what Shaya was saying earlier, like people should come to a point where religious differences no longer stop us from
You would date an atheist?
Look, we're not talking about me.
Guys, no, I'm asking. Answer the question.
No, I would not.
You
You
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
I
No.
wouldn't,
no.
I can
What's the
befriend
reason?
someone, but
I mean, what if you love this person? You know?
you're doing life.
No,
with
you
the
gotta
person.
understand. I'm still close to my foundational
Mhm.
formative years of how I came into Christianity. So I want my wife to be prayerful. I believe in the prayer of a good woman. Mind you, that's just based on my belief still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe in that. So I value that, and I would want a woman who prays for me like no man's business.
Come
you know
on.
what I mean? That's
Okay, sorry, I'm
that's-
hyped. God, I really-
that's what I believe in personally.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if I'm sure she's spiritually sound,
Mm-hmm.
then I can attribute that to her character.
Mm,
In as much as I know they're not
One and the same.
yeah.
one and the same, it's easier to sort of do that quick math thing
Mm-hmm.
of saying, okay, she
One plus
believes
one.
in God like this, so she is gonna be more likely to be loyal and kind of stuff
Okay, I
like that.
get you.
Skitty
I
up,
get
pop,
you.
That and the whole spiritual aspect of the thing.
Mm.
And a boom, 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 boom.
Hey, yes, romantic relationships. I'm a very romantical personality. You know, it's very important that you include God because it's important that you are able to love God before you are able to f your woman properly. Sorry, was that not politically correct? Well, I'm a liberal.
Yeah, shit. Like, look, on that note, look, we might have to, extend this a little bit, but for now, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Guys,
believe.
let us know, actually.
Yeah.
They must let us know. You must
Sure.
engage, though, man.
Cool.
Guys, let us know if you want a part 2. We're game for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose, like, there's always common ground to find
Mm-hmm.
at different relationship levels. And everybody has a right to believe or not believe in whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
suppose for the most part, we gotta just be good people out here,
For real, bro.
Any quick fire, boom, batter, takeaway?
No.
You're good?
I think you summarized it well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thabang, anything
Well,
else?
for me, I just want people to be more open.
Never.
I think like there's more atheists in your life that you're aware of, because most people will not come forth with this belief.
Mm.
Because doubt in the Bible is seen as a bad thing, right? So I feel like maybe this could help in some way, even one person to be comfortable with coming out and be like, look, I'm a non-believer. It's not a bad thing. So those are my last words. Maybe there'll be a part two.
Valid, bro. Like that's really valid because we gotta lean towards being comfortable questioning things.
Yeah.
No.
And speaking to things and not just bringing
Definitely.
them on and just, regurgitating what we've, let's process things.
Let's consume
more.
and
Justify
understand
things
them better. Yeah.
Definitely. Rhythmic, collaborative, and raw, baby.
Hey,
On that
just
note,
how you like it.
Bessie!
All I'll just say about this is that it is very important that we believe that there are forces that are beyond our understanding. We can't just know everything in this life. It's just too big. Some of the clients that I have, they don't know me by face. In fact, I am a white man to them. So they don't understand that, but that doesn't stop them from believing in my services. So I don't know what God looks like, but I can see his hand in my life. I started my online business at a very young age. In fact, I only had 2 princes emailing clients at that time. Now I'm an international business and I have a database of over 5,000 people who are very eager to help a child in need. I told you about my online business. It is a very powerful something. I believe in it, and by God's grace, we shall continue to prevail and be successful. Yes, thank you.